Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are unpacking a seriously chilling sequence of events. We're going to see how one completely mundane, everyday choice can spiral into an absolute nightmare. The story we're looking at today completely flips the script on what you'd expect from a late-night ride. It's just a masterful breakdown of suspense, supernatural elements, and, well, human greed. So let's get right to it and look at the exact moment everything went wrong.
I want you to put yourself in this exact scenario. It's 11:45 p.m. on New Year's Eve. You're exhausted, it's freezing cold outside, and your family, they're waiting for you at home to celebrate. You're literally just about to turn your vehicle around and head to your house. But then your screen lights up, a new booking, and the surge pricing, it's showing 3 times the normal fare. That is a massive payout for just one quick final job of the night. So what do? Do you prioritize the warm, safe festivities waiting for you? Or does the temptation of that heavy payout win you over?
Chapter 1, The Last Ride of December 31st. Let's meet our protagonist, Ramesh. He's a local taxi driver who, you guessed it, decides to tap that accept button and chase that heavy payout. Now, there is a stark contrast happening here. On one hand, you have the city. It's alive, right? Echoing with fireworks and safe, warm parties as everyone rings in the new year. But the reality where Ramesh is actually heading is entirely different. He's driving out to this deserted, deeply foggy, old iron river bridge way out on the outskirts of the city. And the fog is getting thicker and thicker the closer he gets. The silence becomes almost absolute. And right there, in the middle of this bridge, under the super dim light of a single street lamp, a lonely girl is waiting. Part 2, The Mysterious Girl and the Suitcase. So Ramesh slows his taxi down. He spots the girl standing precariously close to the railing of the bridge, and beside her is this massive black suitcase. Instantly, he feels a shiver of unease, but he completely ignores some incredibly glaring red flags. First off, her face is totally drenched in sweat, despite it being bitter winter cold. Second, that massive suitcase, when she tries to lift it, it doesn't budge a single inch. And third, she's just staring at him, silently, like a stone statue. Honestly, that sheer terror and the impossible weight of that luggage should have made Ramesh step on the gas and get out of there. But the promise of that 3x fare kept him part. Ramesh steps out to help her out. He grabs the handle, strains with literally all his might, and asks, "Madam, what is in this bag? Is it full of stones?" He's really trying to use a bit of nervous humor just to break the incredibly thick tension, but the reality is far more grim. He immediately notices the bag feels entirely wrong. It doesn't feel like a bunch of clothes. It feels exactly like lifting heavy iron weights. And her response? Nothing. She gives absolutely no answer, just coldly staring at the trunk. Section 3. Terror inside the car. So Ramesh finally manages to shove the bag in, slamming the trunk shut, and that loud bang just shatters the silence. They get into the car. Outside, this light, chilling rain starts to fall. But inside the cab, the silence is deafening. It's purely claustrophobic. Ramesh keeps nervously glancing up at his rearview mirror. The girl isn't looking forward. She's turned completely around, obsessively watching the trunk. Finally, Ramesh gathers just enough courage to ask her where she's coming from so late at night. And man, she drops a chilling confession. She tells him that exactly 1 year ago, on December 31st, her boyfriend called her to this exact same bridge. His friends partied for a bit and then left them alone. But he didn't want a new life with her. He attempted to assault her. He only wanted her body and her money. Ramesh swallows hard. You can imagine his panic is rising at this point, and he asks what she did next. The girl slowly turns her face toward the mirror, locks eyes with Ramesh, and delivers this line, "I killed him with it." When Ramesh hears this shocking confession, he instinctively slams his foot on the brakes, though the car just keeps sliding forward in the rain. And before he can even process the fact that he literally has a confessed murderer in his back seat, the girl suddenly leans forward. She aggressively accuses Ramesh of having the exact same bad intentions just because she's a lone woman traveling at night. The tension in that cab is at an absolute boiling point right now. Ramesh is sweating profusely, swearing up and down he meant no harm. He's totally convinced he's trapped with a homicidal maniac. But then, the tension momentarily breaks in the most unsettling way possible. The girl just bursts into loud, echoing laughter. She looks right at him and says, "You're such a coward, can't even take a joke." Ramesh is completely confused, but he breathes this massive sigh of relief, brushing the whole thing off, just figuring she's a bit eccentric or, maybe just crazy. Part 4, The Secret of Galaxy Apartment. They finally arrive at the old, imposing gates of the Galaxy apartment building. At this point, Ramesh just wants to escape. He wants his surge-priced fare so he can vanish into the night. But she manipulates him into doing two final fatal favors before he can go. First, she asks him to carry that incredibly heavy bag all the way up to the third floor. And as Ramesh lifts it onto his shoulder, a terrible, foul smell just radiates from it. He even mutters out loud to himself that it feels exactly like carrying a human body. Second, she asks to borrow his mobile phone, just so she can call her roommate to come open the door. Chapter 5. The Shocking Truth.
Ramesh, desperately wanting to be done with this whole ordeal, lends her the phone. She makes a really quick call and hands it back. He hauls that heavy bag up the stairs, panting heavily, and drops it right in front of a closed door on the third floor. But the very second that bag hits the floor, police suddenly charge up the stairs. They completely ignore a panicked Ramesh who throws his hands up in the air thinking he's just been framed for murder. Instead, they pound on the door. A young man opens it, and the blood instantly drains from his face. The inspector orders the bag to be unzipped. Ramesh looks inside and lets out a blood-curdling scream, because the bruised blue corpse stuffed inside that bag is the exact same girl from the taxi. Ramesh spins around in absolute shock, but the girl who just walked up the stairs with him, she has vanished into thin air.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real, horrifying truth. The man standing in that doorway wasn't just a bad boyfriend from a year ago. The police explained to a completely stunned Ramesh that this man is a serial killer. He'd already murdered 4 girls, and the girl in the bag, she was his 4th, his latest victim, who he was just about to dispose of in the dead of night. When you really look at what just happened here, you realize the absolute genius of this ghost's revenge. It's like a perfectly executed puzzle. Step 1, she manifested to book a cab right to her killer's location. Step 2, she manipulated the driver into carrying her own physical corpse right to the killer's doorstep. Step 3, and honestly this is the masterpiece of the whole plan, when she borrowed Ramesh's phone, she didn't call her roommate, she called the police control room to report the exact location of her own murdered body. Step 4, the killer is trapped, red-handed. So the police thank Ramesh, totally believing he was the brave citizen who made the tip-off call, and they haul the killer away. Ramesh is left standing there, trembling, literally out of his mind with terror. He stumbles down the stairs, completely drenched in sweat, and locks himself in his empty taxi. He furiously starts the engine to flee. But as he glances in the rearview mirror one last time, the back seat is completely empty, yet a voice echoes right next to his ear. "Thanks for the help, Ramesh. Won't you take my fare?" This is immediately followed by a chilling laugh ringing out in the cold night. He slams on the accelerator and flees for his life. This explainer leaves us with an incredibly unsettling thought, doesn't it? It's wild how the completely mundane temptation of a little surge pricing can walk us right into the supernatural. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. Next time you accept a late-night opportunity for a little extra cash, next time you let greed push you just a bit further into the dark, who is really sitting in your backseat? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there.